There are things you'd never think could harm you, until they do. For years I've watched older adults, strong, lucid, active, begin to lose their balance, stumble more often, and in some cases end up with serious fractures after a fall that seemed insignificant. We always think it's just age or lack of exercise. But what if I told you that in many cases, the culprit is right on your plate? Yes, there's one food that most older adults consume almost every day without knowing that it's weakening their muscles, slowing their reflexes, and gradually compromising their balance. A food so ordinary that we never even question it. And yet science has begun to warn us about its risks. I'm not here to scare you, and I'm not here to tell you what you can or cannot eat. I'm here to inform you, to help you make knowledgeable decisions so you can live longer and with greater autonomy. Because a fall is not just any accident. It can change your life in seconds. In this video, I'm going to tell you which food it is, what effects it has on your body as we age, and above all, what alternatives you have to replace it without losing flavor, pleasure, or health. I'll also share 5 foods that strengthen your balance and naturally reduce your risk of falling. If you or someone you love has ever suffered a fall, or lately feels more unsteady, stay with me. Perhaps the answer isn't in a pill, but in something as simple as what we put on our table every day. Before we continue, I'd love to know a bit about you. Tell me in the comments how old you are and where you're watching from. I can't wait to read your stories. Falls among older adults aren't just accidents. They're events that often mark a before and after. According to the World Health Organization, falls are the second leading cause of death from accidental injuries worldwide. In people over 65, they're the main cause of serious injuries: hip fractures, traumatic brain injuries, long hospital stays, and in many cases, loss of autonomy. In countries like Spain, 1 in 3 adults over 75 suffers at least one fall per year. Once it happens, the chances of it happening again multiply, not from fear alone, but because the body goes into a constant state of alert that weakens more than it protects. But it's not just about the body. After a fall, many older adults become afraid to move, to leave the house, to do the things that once gave them joy. The fear of falling again makes them more sedentary, and that lack of movement further erodes balance, strength, and confidence. It's a silent, devastating cycle. The consequences don't stop at the physical. Emotionally, a fall can trigger anxiety, depression, and loss of self-esteem. Economically, it represents a huge expense for families and healthcare systems: hospitalizations, rehabilitation, caregivers, medication, home modifications. Everything changes. The hardest part is that many of these falls aren't down to chance. There are hidden, silent factors that increase the risk, and one of the most overlooked is diet. Yes, what we eat, or fail to eat, can make our muscles weaken, slow down our nervous system, and make our joints lose stability. And the most alarming thing is that certain very common, even traditional foods not only fail to help, but may actually be contributing directly to the body losing its ability to stay upright. At this stage of life, nutrition isn't a luxury, it's a survival tool. Understanding which foods strengthen you and which sabotage you from within can be the difference between continuing to walk with freedom or depending on others to walk at all. Over the course of this video, we'll explore that connection, how certain foods weaken bones, affect balance, or create low-grade chronic inflammation that goes unnoticed. And we'll also see how to reverse that process with simple but powerful choices. What do foods have to do with balance and falls? It may seem strange to think that what you eat influences whether you fall or not. But the truth is that connection runs much deeper than we imagine. Every step you take, every movement you make to stay upright, is the result of perfect coordination among 3 key systems: muscles, bones, and the nervous system. And every one of them depends completely on the nutrients your body receives. Let's start with muscles. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass. It's a process called sarcopenia, which actually begins before age 60. That process accelerates if we don't give the body what it needs: enough protein, B-group vitamins, magnesium, and above all, vitamin D. Without these nutrients, muscles weaken faster, and when muscles lose strength, maintaining balance becomes a steep uphill fight. Next, think about bones. The skeleton isn't a rigid, inert structure. It's alive and constantly renewing itself. To maintain bone density, we need calcium, phosphorus, vitamin K, and again vitamin D. If you lack them, bones become more fragile and porous. A fall that used to be just a scare can now become a fracture. What about the nervous system? This is where everything connects. Balance is not just strength, it's coordination, reflexes, communication between brain and body. For that to work, neurons need to be well nourished, and that requires healthy fats, antioxidants, iron, and other minerals that enable nerve transmission. If these nutrients are missing, reflexes slow, reaction times lag, and the risk of falling rises. You'd think a normal diet would cover all that. But here's the real problem. Many older adults consume foods that, far from supplying these nutrients, actually block, eliminate, or replace them with substances that do harm. And they do it every day without realizing it. There's one food in particular that millions of older adults eat without thinking, sometimes at breakfast, sometimes as an afternoon snack, even as a light dinner. It tastes comforting, has a pleasant texture, and is so woven into our food culture it seems impossible to imagine it could be harmful. But it is. And the most worrying thing is how it acts. This food interferes with the absorption of key minerals like magnesium and calcium. On top of that, it triggers glucose spikes that undermine energy stability and neuromuscular function. To make matters worse, it promotes silent inflammatory processes that affect both joints and peripheral nerves. It's not a poison, nor something that will make you ill overnight, but it is a silent enemy of balance, of strength, and of stability. Now it's time to reveal that everyday food that could be undermining your balance without you even knowing. It's white bread. Yes, plain white bread. The kind served at breakfast alongside your coffee with milk in afternoon sandwiches, or as an easy dinner when you don't feel like cooking. At first glance it seems harmless. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't irritate, and it even feels gentler than other foods. But when you look at what happens inside the body, a very different story unfolds. White bread is made from refined flour, that is, flour processed to remove the bran and germ. What does that mean? It means it has lost nearly all its natural fiber, vitamins and minerals. What remains is almost pure starch, a carbohydrate that converts rapidly into sugar in the blood. And what does that have to do with balance and falls? Much more than you'd imagine. Recent studies show that diets rich in refined carbohydrates like white bread can cause rapid blood sugar highs and lows. Those sudden shifts drain energy, cause dizziness, mental fog, and muscle weakness. In other words, it's as if your body is turning the energy switch on and off multiple times a day, and that can destabilize anyone, especially older adults. Moreover, habitual white bread consumption is linked to low-grade chronic inflammation. You don't feel it as intense pain, but over time it degrades joints, muscles, and nerves. A person might notice their legs feel less stable, their feet respond more slowly, or they lose sensation in the soles of their feet. All of this raises the risk of trips, missteps, and falls. A study published in Age and Aging reported that seniors whose diets were high in high glycemic foods, white bread among them, were more likely to experience declines in physical function and reduced mobility compared to those with more balanced diets. And there's more. White bread not only spikes blood sugar, but competes with the absorption of essential nutrients. Excess refined starch can interfere with magnesium uptake, a mineral crucial for muscle contraction and nervous system health. Without enough magnesium, muscles weaken and reflexes slow down. Why is this food so common among older adults? For several reasons. 1. It's inexpensive and easy to find. 2. Many older adults grew up with it and see it as part of their daily routine. 3. It's soft, easy to chew, and seems effortless to digest. Or so it appears. But that softness comes at a hidden cost. It doesn't nourish, it doesn't strengthen, and in some cases, it unbalances. That doesn't mean you must eliminate all bread from your life. It does mean you need to know which types to avoid, which to replace, and how to fine-tune your diet to protect your body from silent decline. Why does this food hit older adults harder? You might be thinking, everyone's eaten white bread their whole lives. Why has it become such a big problem now, in old age? That's an excellent question. The answer lies in how the body changes over time. As we age, our bodies no longer function as they did at 30 or 40. Systems that once operated with precision and strength become slower, more delicate, and more vulnerable to imbalances. That includes digestion, nutrient absorption, hormonal equilibrium, and the nervous system itself. One of the first changes many older adults experience is the loss of muscle mass, known as sarcopenia. From 60 on, the body loses muscle faster than it can rebuild it, especially without regular exercise. The problem is that muscles don't just move us, they're also essential for keeping us balanced and reacting swiftly to a stumble. When muscles weaken, falls become more likely and more dangerous. And that's where white bread comes in. As we've seen, this type of refined carbohydrate sends blood sugar soaring and then crashing abruptly. That energy roller coaster is especially harmful for older adults who already have fewer glucose reserves, less muscle mass, and a slower hormonal response. Digestion also changes with age. The digestive system produces fewer enzymes, metabolism slows down, and many older adults have a more permeable or inflamed gut lining, meaning nutrients aren't absorbed as efficiently as before. So even if you eat the same way, you don't get the same benefits. And when those foods lack nutrients to begin with, the impact is all the greater. Another key factor is the central nervous system. Over time, the neurons that control coordination, balance, and spatial awareness can become slower or less efficient. Any disruption in blood sugar or overall nutrition directly affects those processes, like corroded electrical wiring that shorts out at the slightest surge. Finally, there's tolerance. Throughout life, the body adapts to many things, but with time it loses tolerance for certain ingredients: excess sugar, refined gluten, additives, and ultra-processed foods. What once seemed harmless now triggers discomfort, inflammation, or imbalance. Let me share a real story. Mr. Ernesto is 79. He's always been slim, active, and with a good appetite. For over 40 years, his breakfast was the same: coffee with milk and 2 slices of white toast with butter. He never gave it much thought. It was his routine, his comfort food. But over time, he started to notice something odd. He'd wake up feeling unsteady, as if the floor weren't solid under his feet. He walked more slowly and felt clumsier and more insecure. Then came the falls. First a stumble in the kitchen, then a fall getting out of the shower, and the worst on a staircase, where he hit his shoulder and wound up in the emergency room. After various tests, doctors found no specific cause. Just age, they said. But his granddaughter, who studies nutrition, suggested he stop eating white toast at breakfast and replace it with whole grain rye bread, scrambled eggs with vegetables and fruit. In just 3 weeks, Mr. Ernesto noticed his energy was steadier, his legs responded better, and his mind felt clearer in the mornings. Since then, no more falls. Was it only the white bread? Perhaps not. But it was a key piece in a pattern his aging body could no longer sustain. Aging isn't a sentence, but it does demand more awareness, more care, and smarter choices. And what you eat every day can be the difference between a life spent fearing falls and a life walked with confidence. Next, I'll tell you how to replace this food easily, which healthy alternatives strengthen your body, and what to eat to keep your balance firm for many more years. Now, you might be asking yourself, how do I know if this food is hurting me? That's an excellent question, because the effects of poor eating in old age don't always show up abruptly. You don't eat white bread one morning and fall that afternoon. The decline is silent, gradual, and at first nearly imperceptible. That's why it's so important to pay attention to the subtle signals your body gives you. Here are some of the most common signs. A momentary dizzy spell when you stand up. If you feel lightheaded, like there's a momentary void in your head, or even a brief blurring of vision as you move from sitting to standing, Don't chalk it up to just age. It may indicate that your circulatory or inner ear balance systems are faltering, and a diet high in refined carbohydrates could be to blame. Persistent fatigue for no apparent reason. Do you feel tired despite a good night's sleep? Do you struggle to get going or lose energy quickly during the morning? That kind of fatigue can signal that your blood sugar levels are unbalanced. A quick spike after eating white bread followed by a sudden drop can cause that exhausted feeling. Weakness in legs or arms. It may not be sharp pain, but a sense of floppiness, as if your legs lack the strength to walk short distances or your arms tire during simple tasks. That muscle weakness can be linked to loss of muscle mass, which in turn can be accelerated by a diet low in nutrients and high in sugars. Unsteadiness when walking or turning. Have you noticed you need to lean on a wall when you turn in a hallway? Or that stepping backward makes you wobble? Those little signs of instability show that your postural control is slipping. A balanced diet helps maintain strength, balance, and coordination. Briefly blurred or cloudy vision. Although eye problems can also cause this, blood sugar spikes triggered by foods like white bread can temporarily affect vision, a sign that your body is struggling to process those sugars efficiently. Unexplained joint aches. An inflammatory diet rich in refined products can inflame joints, making movement painful. That pain leads to avoiding movement, which leads to even more muscle loss. It's a vicious cycle. So what can you do? The key is to observe yourself more closely. You don't need special equipment or complicated tests. Just keep a simple record for a few days of what you eat and how you feel afterward. In a small notebook, jot down your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. At the same time, record how you felt that day. Energy level, dizziness, weakness, stability when walking. If certain symptoms recur on days you eat white bread, cookies, pastries, or other refined foods, that's a valuable clue. This straightforward exercise can help you uncover connections that even doctors sometimes miss. No one knows your body better than you, and no one can take better care of it either. In the next part, we'll talk about what you can eat. Delicious, nutritious, and easy to find foods that not only won't harm you, but will help you regain strength and balance. Because good nutrition isn't just about avoiding the bad, it's about giving your body exactly what it needs. Now that you know what food to reduce and why it may be affecting your balance, strength, and overall well-being, it's time for the most important step: taking action. And no, it's not about a strict diet or counting every calorie, nor about giving up all your favorite foods overnight. It's about thoughtful, small changes that have a huge impact on your health over time. First, reduce it rather than eliminate it abruptly. You don't need to throw out every slice of white bread in your home or beat yourself up if you eat it once in a while. What matters is that you start by cutting back. If you used to have it every day, try reducing to 3 times a week, then to 2, and so on. Gradually, your body will adjust. Second, replace it with better alternatives. It's not about depriving yourself, but substituting wisely. For example, you can swap white bread for whole grain bread. Check that the first ingredient is whole wheat flour, rye bread with low glycemic index and higher fiber, artisan sourdough breads that are easier to digest, homemade oatmeal cookies without sugar or refined flour, or brown rice cakes without additives. If you prefer a heartier breakfast, try scrambled eggs with vegetables, cooked oatmeal with seeds and berries, or plain yogurt topped with nuts. These options provide stable energy, proteins, fiber, minerals, and healthy fats that keep blood sugar steady, protect muscles, and nourish the brain. Third, stay hydrated and active. Many older adults don't drink enough water. Even mild dehydration contributes to weakness, dizziness, and slower reflexes. Sip water throughout the day, even if you don't feel thirsty. As for movement, you don't need a gym. Gentle walks, simple balance exercises, like standing on one foot for a few seconds, stretches, or beginner's yoga can revive your strength and dramatically improve stability. Fourth, consult a professional. Before making significant diet changes, talk to your doctor or a nutritionist experienced with older adults. Every body is different, and certain health conditions require personalized adjustments. For instance, if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or take specific medications, some foods can help, while others must be avoided. A professional will ensure these changes are safe and effective. Fifth, involve family or caregivers. You don't have to do this alone. Share what you've learned with those who cook for you, or with a trusted friend or relative. Small dietary changes are much easier when you have support. You don't need perfection. Just start with a new breakfast, add 10 more minutes of walking, drink a bit more water. These small steps add up, and your body will thank you. Because even as the years go by, it's never too late to improve your health, and what you eat every day can mean the difference between living in fear of falls or walking confidently through life. Second, replace it with better alternatives. It's not about forbidding, but substituting. For example, white bread can be swapped out for real whole wheat bread. Check that the first ingredient is whole wheat flour. Rye bread, which has a lower glycemic index and more fiber. Artisan sourdough breads, which are easier to digest. Homemade oatmeal cookies without sugar or refined flours. Brown rice cakes without salt or additives. If you want something heartier for breakfast, try scrambled eggs with vegetables, cooked oatmeal with seeds and fruit, plain yogurt with nuts. All of these not only give you energy, but also provide protein, fiber, minerals, and healthy fats that keep your blood sugar stable, protect your muscles, and nourish your brain. Third, stay hydrated and active. It may seem obvious, but many older adults don't drink enough water. Even mild dehydration contributes to dizziness and weakness. Sip small amounts of water throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty. As for movement, you don't need a gym. Gentle walks, balance exercises, like standing on one foot for a few seconds, stretches, or senior-friendly yoga can reactivate your strength and improve stability in less time than you'd think. Fourth, consult a professional before making big changes to your diet. Talk with your doctor or a nutritionist who specializes in older adults. Every body is different, and certain health conditions require personalized adjustments. For example, if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or take specific medications, there may be foods that help and others you should avoid. A professional can guide you safely and effectively. Fifth, involve your family or caregivers. You don't have to do this alone. Share what you've learned. Explain how such a common food may be harming you and that you've decided to take control of your health. If you live with someone, ask whoever cooks to help with these changes. If you live alone, share this information with a trusted friend or relative. Dietary changes are easier when they're made together. You don't need to be perfect from day one. Just start. Choose a different breakfast, walk 10 more minutes, drink a little more water. These small gestures add up, and your body will notice. When you nourish it well, it responds in kind, because even as the years go by, it's never too late to improve your health. Now that we've covered the food you should avoid or reduce, let's talk about what you should eat more often to maintain balance, strengthen your muscles, and reduce the risk of falls. The good news is, you don't need expensive supplements or complicated diets. There are accessible, nutritious, easy-to-find foods that can make a big difference in your stability and overall health. Here are 5 of them. Each serves a key function in your body, and together they can help you stay strong, steady, and active for many more years. 1. Fatty fish, such as salmon. Salmon is one of the most complete foods for older adults. It's packed with omega-3, a healthy fat that protects the brain, reduces inflammation, and improves the connection between the nervous system and muscles. It's also an excellent source of vitamin D, essential for strong bones and fall prevention. If fresh salmon is too expensive, canned salmon, sardines, or tuna are good alternatives. Aim for 2 servings per week, on salads with rice, in an omelette, or for dinner. 2. Spinach and other dark leafy greens. Spinach, Swiss chard, kale, and their counterparts are loaded with magnesium, calcium, and vitamin K. Nutrients that work together to strengthen bones, improve muscle contraction, and support balance. They're also rich in antioxidants that protect cells from premature aging. Add them to soups, mix them into eggs, sauté with garlic, or blend them into a mild fruit smoothie. 3. Nuts and seeds. Almonds, walnuts, sunflower seeds, chia seeds, or flax seeds are tiny nutritional powerhouses filled with healthy fats, protein, calcium, magnesium, and antioxidants. A handful a day helps maintain muscle mass, sharpens memory, reduces inflammation, and stabilizes blood sugar levels, helping to prevent sudden dizziness or falls. Eat them as a snack, sprinkle them on yogurt or oatmeal, or toss them over salads. 4. Oats. Oats are especially powerful for older adults. They're rich in fiber, iron, B vitamins, and they help keep energy levels steady throughout the day. Why does this matter? When your body has a constant energy source, you're less likely to experience sugar crashes or weakness that can cause dizziness or unsteadiness. Plus, oats are easy to prepare. Cook them in water or milk, add fruit or cinnamon, or even make them into healthy pancakes. 5. Turmeric. Yes, that yellow spice you've seen at the supermarket. Turmeric contains curcumin, a potent natural anti-inflammatory that supports healthy joints, eases chronic pain, and enhances brain function. Add a pinch to stews, soups, or even to a warm milk and honey drink. It's simple, affordable, and its long-term health benefits are remarkable. And how can you incorporate these foods without overspending? Buy nuts and seeds in bulk. They're usually cheaper and last longer. Use frozen spinach if fresh is too expensive. It retains almost all its nutrients. Take advantage of sales on canned fish. Choose varieties packed in water or olive oil. Purchase oats in large bags. They're one of the most cost-effective foods per serving. And for turmeric, a small teaspoon a day is more than enough. Remember, you don't have to change everything overnight. Start by adding one of these foods this week, then 2, then 3. Gradually, you'll build a nutritional foundation that helps you maintain strength, balance, and independence. And most importantly, don't do it just to avoid falls. Do it to feel stronger, more agile, and more energized to enjoy each day of your life. We've talked extensively about what to eat, but nutrition alone isn't everything. To maintain balance and prevent falls, you need a holistic approach. Moving, hydrating, sleeping well, and caring for your senses. Yes, vision and hearing play a more vital role than you might imagine. Here are some simple exercises and daily habits to help you stay steady on your feet longer. You don't need a gym or special gear, just consistency. Exercise 1. Standing up from a chair without using your hands. This simple movement is one of the best indicators of leg and hip strength. If you can do it smoothly, that's a good sign. If it's difficult, it's a warning. Sit on a chair with your back straight and feet flat on the floor, then stand up using only your leg strength without pushing off with your hands. Sit down and repeat 5 times. Do this every day. It's more useful than it seems. Exercise 2. Heel-to-toe walking. Ideal for improving balance and coordination. Picture a straight line in front of you. Take 5 or 6 steps forward, placing one foot directly in front of the other, heel to toe, then return. Move slowly, focusing on posture and breathing. If needed, start with hand support or keep a chair nearby for safety. Exercise 3. Single leg balance. You can do this while waiting for tea to heat or standing in the kitchen. Lightly hold onto the back of a chair and lift one leg, holding it in the air for about 5 seconds before switching. Over time, aim to do it without support. It enhances stability, strengthens ankles, and boosts confidence when walking. Hydration is as basic as it is vital. Not drinking enough water leaves you weaker, more dizzy, and slower in reflexes, and all that increases fall risk. After age 70, thirst sensation diminishes, so don't wait to feel thirsty. Sip water throughout the day, even if you don't feel like it. Your balance depends on it. Rest. It's not just sleep, it's recovery. A tired body reacts more slowly, and a sleep-deprived brain makes poorer decisions. Good sleep helps your muscles repair, your brain process information clearly, and your reflexes stay sharp. If you're sleeping poorly, you're at higher risk of falls. Create a relaxing bedtime routine. Avoid bright screens, heavy dinners, or loud noises. Your body needs rest to support you firmly the next day. Vision and hearing are your balance sensors. Did you know even mild hearing loss can affect balance? The same goes for poor vision. If you can't see edges, uneven surfaces, or obstacles, you're much more likely to trip or misstep. That's why you should have regular eye and hearing checkups. Don't wait for a problem to worsen. Sometimes a simple change of glasses or a small hearing aid can prevent a serious fall. All these elements are connected. Good nutrition gives you strength. Exercise keeps that strength active. Sleep allows your body to recover. Hydration keeps your organs functioning well, and your senses guide you safely. There's no magic bullet, but when you combine these factors, you achieve a more stable, more independent, and more risk-free life. And most importantly, it's never too late to start. Your body will respond when you treat it with care and patience. Now that you've made it to the end, I want to remind you of something crucial. This video isn't meant to scare you or make you fear food. It's meant to help you understand your body better and give you tools to live with more safety, confidence, and independence. A fall, no matter how minor it seems, can change your life. And if you can prevent it with a small dietary change, it's worth trying. You may have eaten the same way for years without realizing it could affect your balance. It's not your fault. No one teaches us these things. No one explains how the body changes with age, or how foods that once caused no harm can become silent obstacles. But today, you know. You now have clarity that you didn't have before. You know you can choose better, that you can care for your muscles, balance, and nervous system by making more conscious decisions each day. You know that white bread, sugar, and ultra-processed foods aren't as harmless as they seem, especially after 70. But you also know there are ways to counteract their effects by strengthening your body with real foods, simple exercises, good sleep, and proper hydration. This isn't about seeking perfection, it's about living with dignity, getting out of bed on your own, walking without fear, having the strength to open a door, go for a walk, or hug your grandchildren with confidence. That's quality of life. And although we can't control every aspect of aging, we can control what we put on our plate, how we move our bodies, and how we choose to care for ourselves each day. You're not alone. There are thousands of people watching this video who, like you, want to live stronger and freer, many of whom have also suffered a fall, or felt that scary dizziness, or noticed their balance slipping. To you, I say, it's not too late. Every small change you make counts, and if this video opened your eyes to something new, you've already taken the first step. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a fall for unexpected reasons? A slip, a dizzy spell, a sudden loss of strength? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to read your story. And if this video helped you, please subscribe and share it with someone who might need it. Perhaps a family member, friend, or someone in your community. It could be the video that changes a life. Thank you for being here and taking care of yourself. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.